Hello, everyone. Very good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all you participants out over there who joined me on this virtual meeting on Zoom. I'm very thrilled, as I say every day, to each and every one of you because you're already there in this session, and our gathering is such an unforgettable experience. So, get ready. We're going to start with our day two of our sensorial exercise. We have completed or some of the exercises in our visual sense in the last class. In case if you have missed the last class information, I'm going to be sharing you the video which I have not sent it to all of you. I would also give the link for today. You can take a look and go through that. Okay. So yes, so if you're a new member, maybe you can connect to me after the class and I will be able to add you to the group. Okay. So we have loads of exercises which is there for today's exercise. We're going to continue with our visual sense exercises. Don't be shy. Feel free to connect with me even after the classes in case if you have not understood or something, or if you want to ask any questions or share your thoughts. The group is always open, so you can share your inputs, your beliefs, so that our environment becomes much more inclusive and everybody's ideas would be actually taken together. So that way, we would be able to make up our memories together and you would be able to make a lot of lasting connections. You have many team members who would be very supportive to all of you, right? So that's how we get engaged. And that's how this entire journey of learning becomes much more enjoyable. Okay. So to kickstart this fabulous Monday, welcome everybody. And I would be hitting the record button. It's already on the record mode. Thank you very much for joining in and being a part of this amazing learning community. So I'm excited to begin with our sensorial lesson, day 2. So welcome guys. So in the previous class, I was talking about the sensory education. We learned about sensorial comes from the word senses, right? So that means that there is no new experience what the child takes it. Everything comes from refining. So right from visual sense to stereognostic sense. So we learned about 8 senses. And we also learned about what is the purpose of sensorial work. Every time we aim for certain things, right? So what do we aim for in our sensorial work? We have to aim our work in such a way that whatever exercise that we introduce to the child, whatever could be the exercise that you are introducing to the child, those exercises are clear. It has to be conscious. This is what I spoke about also in the last class. And this information should be able to help the child to work on classification. The child should be able to work on the classification. So this is what Dr. Maria Montessori also believed. And she believed that once the child starts understanding his or her own environment, that's when the child becomes a sensorial explorer. Correct? So this is something that we learned. Very good evening. This is what we actually learned about being there. And from there onwards, we started looking into how do we group them. We group based on what? We group based on certain qualities, right? What was that? It was based on the shape. It was based on
Size,
size. Very good. It was based on the colors. It was based
sense,
on
composition,
texture,
composition. Correct. It was based on composition. It was based on the weight. From
texture, smell,
yes, it was
texture,
based on the smell. It was based on the texture.
weight, temperature, sounds,
Temperature, correct.
sounds,
Sounds, definitely, whether it is loud or whether it is soft. So, keeping all of this in mind, we further categorize that into different exercises, correct? So, our exercises were again grouped into 8 groups, right? So, what was those groups? So, we grouped them into 8. So, what were those 8 groups? So, it was visual
visual,
sense,
visual,
visual,
see,
auditory,
phonic sense.
yes. See, since we are working with the visual sense, when I work with colors, I can immediately grow with chromic sense,
Yes.
chromatic. Then since I'm holding something, maybe I can work on tactile.
Yes.
I need to get the experience of how it touches and feels, right? Then I'm also working on the weight, so I get into baric.
Yes.
I'm also
Thermic sense.
temperatures. So
Thermic sense.
definitely,
Thermic.
yes.
Auditory sense. Auditory sense.
Auditory, correct. Yeah.
Olfactory.
olfactory,
Olfactory is excuse me, olfactory
Smell.
is sense of smell, and then gustatory.
Gustatory.
So
Stereognostic.
and we had another one that was called as a
Stereognostic. Stereognostic.
sense, correct? So
Muscular
these
sense.
are 9 senses that we actually had it. We grouped them into 8 different parts, wherein visual and chromic, our color sense is related to one particular thing itself. So we started seeing exercises based on that, right? So before we introduce any of the lessons, which I did not give you in the last class, is something called as a 3-period lesson. Okay, this is the base of Montessori exercises of how do you introduce lessons in your classes. Now, what is a 3-period lesson? It's an experience itself, like how you introduce a material. Now, here, why we have to use 3-period lesson is because you have to introduce something called language to the child. You have to make sure whether the child has understood the material that you have introduced, whether the child is able to do a repetitive exercises of those. How do you ensure as a teacher whether the child is understood or not? When you follow the principle of 3-period lesson, you will be able to identify, right? So what do we do here? Now, every time the teacher introduces the names of the objects, you will also teach about the qualities of those objects, correct? So, all those names the child will have to be taking it up. Now, as further you move from this 3-period lesson, you would also teach the child how to grade a particular object positively, comparatively, and superlatively. So, this is your aim of 3-period lesson. That your step one talks about naming period. Okay, so what do I call by naming period? What do I say? Why do I call it as a naming period? Is when I as a teacher or I as a director, I present some of the objects. Now, say for example, how many objects can I bring in? Maybe take 3 objects. I place a mat and I bring 3 objects. Okay, so which are like contrasting in color or maybe anything, but I would be looking at one parameter only. I would isolate and put them on the mat. Okay, 3 objects, I would put them onto my mat. Now, what I have to do here? What is the first thing that you'll have to do? As soon as you've got an object, how should I be presenting the lesson to the child? I have to pick that object. I have to feel that object thoroughly. We agree on that? And then you encourage the child to experience the same thing. So what do? I pick up the first object, I hold it in my hand, I experience it. Then I keep it back. I take it, I experience, I keep it back. Then I ask the child, you would like to do this? Since the child has already observed how you presented this lesson, the child will start copying your movements, correct? So this has to be something which we do it in our first step. Once this is done, then the teacher will look at the eyes of the child and then you will tell the name of the object. Name of the object. Say, for example, this is circle, this is square, this is rectangle. You will give out the names of the object. Your first period lesson or the step 1 lesson is called the naming period, wherein the teacher is going to help the child to sensitize that material. Once the sensitization is all done, the child has got the experience of holding the object in their hands. Now, as a director, you're going to give them the names of it. It's very important. Every material from now on, you will introduce using 3-period lesson. For all the diploma holders, every presentation has to be 3-period lesson. If they ask you to grade, you will grade. How do I grade? Small circle, medium circle, large circle. Smaller circle, bigger circle. Okay, so you would start grading them positively, comparatively, and superlatively. So step 1 is clear to everybody. That's our naming period. So let's move to our step 2 here. What do we do in step 2? Step 2, we call this as a recognition period. Okay, so it's called the recognition period. And sometimes we can also call this as an association period. Why I call it as an association period? Because I might be able to associate. Now, what do we do here is like once the child has clearly heard the names of every object, whatever you introduce to the child. Now that teacher can actually ask, okay, what can she actually ask? Can you please give me that? Okay, now what I can say, I had circle, I had square, I had rectangle, right? The teacher can ask now. But she can ask, can you give me the circle? She's asking, can you show me where the rectangle is? Can you point to the square? Can you keep the circle there? So there can be series of instructions for you to check whether the child is able to recognize and associate with the name and the object. Okay, so there are two different things. There are objects, there are names of objects. In the first period, object was introduced first, then the name was introduced separately. Now you're associating an object to your name. Correct? I'm saying, can you show me the circle? The child is able to touch it, give it, or whatever the child wants to do it, or what the teacher actually asks them to do it. Correct? So by doing this, the child is able to learn the names along with the object. Now, when we do that, don't you think it is adding a little extra to our memory? We're able to recall the same thing, right? So this is going to help me to work on my long-term memory also. Now, moving to my third period or my step 3 of my 3-period lesson, I call this as a recall period. I call this as my recall period. Now, what happens here? Recall is like for a long-term memory. The teacher puts everything, and now the teacher asks a very important question. What is this? The child will have to give away the answer. This is circle, this is square, this is rectangle. The students will have to be able to give the answers out. What is this? So the child understands. So by this, what happens? The child responds, and as a teacher, you would be able to work on all of it. And the same 3-period lesson, you can go for grading. Okay, so you can go for grading. The first grading is your positive degree. Then you go for comparison. Then you go for superlative. 3 degrees is what you do. Again, for everything you can do naming period, recognition period, recall period. How do I do a naming period for this? For comparison, say if I have long, longer, long, short, shorter. So what do? I bring a long pencil, shorter pencil, and a longer pencil. This is longer. This is long pencil. This is short pencil. This is shorter pencil. First period. Second period, can you show me which is the longer pencil? Can you keep the shorter pencil there? That's your second period. Third period, can you tell me what is this? Long pencil. So you should be able to use the 3-period lesson for any such grading, for any of the conceptions that we have learned. Okay. So this is what we missed in the last class. So I thought I would give you this. Without this, it becomes difficult for you students to actually have a follow-up on the writables. Okay. So moving to the other exercises, what we had on the visual sense, we started with Pink Tower. Pink Tower was used to teach what? Big and small. Correct? We used red rods. Red rods was introduced for long and short. Then we used brown stairs. Brown stairs was introduced for
Thickness.
thick and thin. We used knob cylinders. Correct? We used knob cylinders. Again, knob cylinders had 3 parameters to teach. Then we used knobless. Again, this was for thickness. This was also for height. Correct? So this is what we actually used, and we had stopped over here in the last class. Today's next exercise, please note down everybody. We're going to use the next one. That's called our color tablets. Okay, please note down. Oh, all my markers are out of ink. 1 second, please. Just give me a second. Did I resume? Sorry, I did not record that part. Hope I have not missed a useful information. Okay, so coming down to your color tablet here. Now, did you notice here what we actually have is these are the three boxes that you will be working with, correct? So when you introduce these three boxes to our children, you need to do one after the other. First, let the child be good enough with what I could say primary, then go to your secondary, then go to your tertiary color box. Okay. So moving to our presentation of our classes, what we generally have over here, the purpose for me was like only to introduce the children to the world of colors. We learned about how each box was so different. We learned like box one will have only primary colors, box 2 will have 11 pairs of primary, secondary color tablets plus gray, pink and brown. Box 3 will have 9 sets of tablets, correct? So this was one of the variations that we actually had. So what's the point of interest? Why you should do this exercise? We want the child to compare colors, right? How beautiful the colors in the world are and how different every shade is. Let the child feel every color tablet that he or she is using. Now, when I present it, when I ask the child to grade all of them, don't you think that we are also introducing language to the children? We say, children, this is light green, this is the lightest green, this is the darkest green, right? We always talk about grading. So that means I'm giving a lot of importance to my vocabulary also. Correct? So when I have my box 1, box 2 and box 3, the third box, this is how I would be grading. When you introduce the child to one each, so in the center you can place a globe or anything that is circular and give the first palette of everything so that the child understands about the spacing and then you can move forward. Okay, so this is about something. Now to have an extension activity, this is all related to what activities you do at school. You can lay a color day and you can ask children to bring as many objects as possible from your room or environment, match the colors, and the child will be fascinated to see how well they're able to grade. Now you can take up to start with is two colors, light orange, light blue, dark blue. Let the child bring something that is very closer to all of them and you should be able to segregate. If you have chart papers in your classes, related to that. If you have any kind of puzzle trays in your classes, related to that. See the combinations, how beautiful. You can always say the butterfly wings are a combination of yellow brown. Now this butterfly has got a combination of yellow and orange. Now these has to be your prepared activity. As a teacher, you will know you're introducing colors, but for a child, it's fun. And in your art lessons also, you can integrate these ones. You can always ask the child to, see the combinations, give them choices. Give them choices. You can either color green or black, blue or light blue, dark blue, light yellow, light orange, dark orange. Give them choices. So that's how the child will be introduced to art. So especially many of the art teachers use these lessons very wonderfully. But as teachers, you can also use. Even in your language classes, you can use it to teach spellings. GR is a consonant blend. Double E is a long vowel sound. N, it's an ending sound. So it's gr, e, n. So three sounds. So you can syllabicate into three parts. And that's how you would introduce the spellings for children. You can see EE is a long vowel sound that says E. So these would be extension lessons for your color tablets. And that's our today's first exercise. Easy, everybody? Okay. I'm going a little fast. You have to pardon me on that. Okay, so wherever if I want to go a little slow, I would go. Clear? Okay, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So we're going to start with something called as geometric cabinet. Please note down the next material what we have is called geometric cabinet. Okay. So very important thing is like this is nothing but a chest of drawer. You can imagine it's a cabinet which will have how many drawers? 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 drawers it will have. Each of the drawer will have a knob so that I can pull out. So how many drawers it will have? 6 drawers. Okay. Now when I'm introducing this geometric cabinet, I should also be working with something called as my geometric cabinet presentation tray. So I got to have a presentation tray also. Okay. Why a presentation tray? I'm going to tell you later when I show you that. But let's understand the material itself. Okay. Now this material is made up of wood. And what will this draw have is something that we have to understand. Okay. Now your draw one will have 6 circles. Please note down. Your draw one will have 6 circles. Each of the circle will vary from 5 centimeter to 10 centimeters. Please note down. Draw one will have 6 circles. They are increasing in diameter from 5 centimeter to 10 centimeter. Your draw two will have 1 square and it will have 5 rectangles. Again, that also will vary from 10 centimeter to 5 centimeter, but something remains the same. What remains the same? Height. Why? Height remains constant because the square will also have the same height. The rectangle will also have the same height. So height will remain constant in my draw 2. Clear?
Can you repeat one more time, ma'am?
Completely with circles. Yes?
Can you repeat one more time, please?
Okay. Your draw 1 will have 6 circles.
Okay.
Okay. So your draw 2 will have 5 rectangles and it will have 1 square. Okay. Height will remain constant. What is height? See, this is square, right? This is my square and this is my rectangle. See, height is constant. But look at the length. This is changing, correct?
Yeah.
Something is constant. So height will remain constant. So I have a 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter square, 5 centimeter by 6 centimeter rectangle, 5 centimeter by 7 centimeter rectangle, 5 centimeter by 8, 5 centimeter by 9, 5 centimeter by 10. But what remained constant to me?
Height.
Only my height of the rectangle remained constant. You have to write this description and you have to draw this in your presentation. When you are writing your paper in your practicals, you got to draw everything. Even though you have a material ready to with you, you have to write with all these instructions and draw very carefully. Now you understood about that particular thing, right? So we have that geometric cabinetry which is there. Now, when I show you that, it becomes easy for you. Now, let me quickly show you how the presentation tray 1 would look like. Then it gives you a better idea. Now, are you able to relate it to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to relate it to me? So, this is my first draw. Now, much before this, I have to show you how this draw looks also, right? Okay, so this is the cabinetry. Okay, let me show you geometric cabinet. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So this is how the material would look like. Okay, it's a chest of drawer. Okay, so can you see how many drawers are there? 6 drawers are there. And we're going to be working on different things. See, the chest of drawers. When I remove the first drawer, you will find what? Circles. Now, can you relate it? This is the smallest one is what centimeter? Diameter.
5 centimeter.
5 centimeter. This is 6 centimeter. This is 7. This is 8. This is 9. And this is 10. So what do? I remove the 5 centimeter circle. And what should I do next? I have to trace it. Then I have to measure the diameter and I have to know that this is 5 centimeter. Now I take the second one, I put that and I draw. And I measure that 6 centimeter. right? And I would be able to color it also. So it's again my hand-eye coordination exercise. It's my pre-writing exercise. Again, it's my pre-math exercise. Again, it's my mathematical exercise, wherein I'm introducing sizes, I'm introducing shapes for the children. I'm also introducing tracing. I can make different figures using different diameters, right? Can I make a snowman? 5 centimeter, 7 centimeter, 10 centimeter. I can still make a snowman here. The child will be able to make different figures using the same thing. The choice is up to you, but we are going to only introduce about the different shapes that we actually have it in this particular exercise. Clear everybody so far? Okay. Now what does my draw 2 have? Now draw 2 has what?
One square,
Yes.
rectangle.
Now can you see? It has one square and it has many rectangles.
Rectangles.
Next, my draw 3. Please write down. My draw 3 will have many other things. What else it will have? My draw 3. Please note down. My draw 3 will have the following things. Are you right me? Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So please note down. It is related completely with what? Triangles?
Triangles.
Yes. So I would be working on triangles here. But there are different sets of triangles. How many triangles I'll have? 6 triangles. Now, what are the triangles that I'm going to have is something that you need to write. The first thing that I'm going to have is my isosceles triangle. Please note down. I would have my isosceles triangle. Then I would have an isosceles right angle triangle. So write down everybody isosceles. What is the spelling? ISO.
ISOSCELES.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. So sorry. Isosceles triangle is what I would be having. Okay. So here you start writing the names of all of that. So I would have a isosceles right angle triangle. So how does it look? Like this, probably. Correct? So I would have an isosceles right angle triangle. I would have a equilateral triangle. Okay. Then I would have an acute angle isosceles. Acute angle isosceles triangle. Then I can also have obtuse angled isosceles triangle. Then last I would have what? What are the types of triangles? Isosceles, equilateral, right angled, obtuse angle, scalene.
Scalene.
Scalene. Now
Scalene.
again I should have scalene also, right? So I would have a right angled scalene. SCALE.
ENT.
Okay, so right angle scalene triangle. Then again, I would have my obtuse angled scalene triangle. So how many? 6 triangles is what I would have. So I would have isosceles right angled, equilateral, acute angle isosceles, obtuse angled, right angled scalene, obtuse angled scalene. So these are my 6 triangles that I would have it in my draw 3. Now if I show you, you will be able to connect with all of them. Okay, so the first one is equilateral. Equilateral, first one. What's the
Yes,
second one? Second one, guys.
Isosceles.
Isosceles. Third one.
Right angle triangle.
Isosceles right angle.
Isosceles right angle triangle.
Right angle.
One.
Right angle triangle.
Equilateral triangle.
Okay, fifth one.
Acute angle isosceles triangle.
Very good. Sixth one.
Obtuse angle isosceles triangle.
Yeah, obtuse angle, isosceles triangle. Okay, so we should be able to give them the following differences of the different kinds of triangles. So that's your draw 3. Now coming down to my draw 4. What do I have in my draw 4? Note down everybody. What do I have it in my draw 4? Now, in my draw 4, it's very simple. I would have polygons. What is a polygon? What's a polygon?
Five
Polygon.
sides.
Huh?
5 sides. No,
Yes,
polygon.
what's a
Eight.
polygon.
8.
Correct.
Five
It's a
shapes.
triangle shape.
Pentagon.
Anything which is more than?
More than 8.
More than what?
More than 8.
More than
Many
More
sides
than 8.
shape. Many
More
shapes.
than four
More
sides.
than four sides.
Four
Anything
sides.
that is more than four sides or greater than four sides is considered to be a polygon. But anything that has four sides is called what? Quadrilateral, like diamond, rhombus. They're all quadrilaterals, correct? So we are talking about polygons here. So in polygon, what are the different shapes which will have more than four?
Pentagon, hexagon, octagon.
Pentagon, hexagon, octagon,
Very good.
Nanagon.
Hexagon,
Decagon.
octagon, octagon,
wonderful. Octagon, nonagon,
Nanagon.
decagon.
Decagon.
So pentagon has five sides, hexagon six sides, heptagon seven, octagon eight, nonagon nine, and decagon is your 10 sides, correct? So this would be your draw what? 4 or 5? Draw 4. Okay.
4.
Can we relate it now? So it has 6 polygons. So everything has got a flat base. Did you notice here? They all have a flat base. In your storage also. Did you notice here? So it's never tilted. So they all have a flat base. They're ranging from 1 to 6. They're going clockwise from top left, including in the draw. So we start with pentagon, 5 sides, hexagon 6, heptagon 7, octagon 8, nonagon 9, and decagon 10 sides.
Yes.
Here, all of you. If you ask in your math class, draw a shape, nonagon, the child can pick up this polygon and they can trace it over and they can actually count the number of sides. They can count or they can measure the angles, right? All these are my extended activities that I will be doing it in my lesson of my geometric cabinet tray. Okay. Now let's see what's there in my D5. Draw 5. What do I have? Quadrilaterals.
sir.
Okay, how
Quadrilateral.
many quadrilaterals we have? So we are taking 4 right now. So I have my rhombus, then parallelogram, yes.
Diamond,
It also has diamond, okay, but we put it
diamond.
rhombus. Yeah.
Trapezoid.
Trapezoid, yeah, but again, we can also take angles into consideration here. See, in Montessori,
Trapezium,
trapezoid, they would again be a little bit more. They also go on angles and the type of the rectangle, sorry, triangle. So I can say right angle trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid. Okay, so I can have a right angled trapezoid. Okay, the third one, I can have a right angle trapezoid. I can also have a isosceles, guys. Isosceles trapezoid. So this is my third. What can be my fourth? I can still have an acute angled scalene triangle also. Okay, we'll see how that also becomes quadrilateral. That is in my draw 5. Okay, let's take a look at my draw 5. So this is what I would have in my draw 5. They contain all the quadrilaterals, okay, a rhombus, then we have a trapezium, trapezoid, a parallelogram, we missed parallelogram, okay, right angle trapezoid is also there, and then you have this one, this is an angular, what I could say, the triangle version of it, okay, so this comes down in your draw 5. So draw 6, when we talk about it, again, note down what do we have in our D6. So D6, please note, we have the following shapes in D6. Now here, D6 is a little different. It has a lot of curved figures. Okay, they don't have straight lines, they don't have angles, but it will have all your curved figures. Now I can say, what could be my curved figure? I can have an oval, starting with an oval.
Circle.
Circle is a first one. I can't
Okay.
have a circle here. Maybe I can have a curvy linear triangle. So it's not a triangle, so it looks like a triangle. So it's curvy linear triangle. Okay, something like this I can take it. Curvy linear triangle. I can also have an ellipse. Okay. Then I can also have a quatrefoil. I'll show you how quatrefoil looks like. Quatrefoil. Quatrefoil. You can't see? Quatrefoil. It's a quatrefoil. So that's your D6. Quatrefoil. Quatrefoil. FOIL. Okay. So that's your D6. So let me quickly show you my D6. Can you see here? So I have my triangle. I would anyways have it. I have my oval. Then I have my ellipse. I have my quatrefoil. Then I have my, what is this? So this is my curvilinear. No, this is a different one. Then I have my curvilinear triangle. Then I have an equilateral triangle. Okay, so this is my equilateral triangle. Then I have a blank space. So all these objects are there in my draw 6. Now, once this is done, you have to put, let's first introduce one by one. Then you have to work on aiming it. So the child should also know the names of all these geometric shapes. They should be able to discriminate the sizes and shapes. When you give them to trace it over, the child should be able to trace. So that's for preparation of their hand. And child becomes much better towards hand-eye coordination. So this is how all the geometric cabinetries are kept out. Once this is done, how do you present it? You have something called as geometric cabinet tray, because that is very heavy for you to carry. You only take this geometric cabinet tray, whichever shape that you're interested to trace. You will pick each of the draw. You will only take those. You getting me? Guys?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, you will only pick those insets. You will come down and then you will start tracing. Just like how we had metal insets. You remember? We did metal insets, right? So similar to that is what you're going to be working on this particular exercise. Now to extend this, we also have more things. What do I work on? What do I say when I work on more? The how do I put it? It also comes under, give me a moment. Yeah, we can also have something called as geometric cabinet cards. Okay, so we also get the cards. Now here, again, your cards will be in 3 different sets. It comes in sets. Your set 1, your set 2, and your set 3. They come in different sets. Set 1, set 2, and set 3 cards. Now in set 1, what happens here is like, you would have, okay, you will have a figure that is completely filled in. Completely filled in. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Completely filled in? Say, for example, if you have your draw 1, you had a circle of different diameters, correct? So, this will be completely colored like this. The cards will be completely colored and it will have a 5 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 7 centimeter labeled. Okay, so the child will be able to differentiate the sizes. In set 2, you will have figures. You will have again here figures, but these figures are not completely filled, but they have a thick outline. They will have a thick outline. For example, 5 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 7 centimeter, they have a thick outline. In my set 3 will also have the same figures as whatever I had, but they will have a thin outline. They would have a thin 5 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 7 centimeter. They have a thin. Did you get the differences of all these three kinds?
मम्मी छोड़ दो ना, थोड़ी देर छोड़ क्यों नहीं देती हो? जाने दो उसको, लगने दो.
Okay, okay. Okay, so what we have over here is like we would definitely have three sets of cards, completely filled in, thick outline, and a thin outline. Now, what is the exercise that I want to be working with children here? First, what is my presentation? I bring the inset, I trace it, then I can color it. Or I bring the inset. Say, for example, my inset was a rectangle for me. I bring that inset, I trace the inset, I trace it, I completely fill in, or I do a double or triple times of marking. So it becomes a dark outline, or I can go only once, so it becomes a thin outline. So these are the three different exercises that you as teachers will be able to work with children. So this is one thing. But when you want to present as a class activity, if you want to present, you need to also show them the materials, correct? So how do I present that material is also something that you need to be working on. Okay, let me quickly see if I have those cards. I can show it to you.
Divya ma'am,
Hmm?
can I tell one thing?
Yes.
Today I teaching the first standard shapes. When I blindfolded them and give the shapes, they are very much interested and touching that, and they are telling this is also one more way to make the kids to understand the shapes and then how many sides and all. They enjoy today. All the kids
What is this sense called, Hamsa ma'am?
shapes, about the
So
shapes,
what
all
is
the
the
shapes.
sense when you blindfold and you only ask them to work on it? What is it called? What is it?
Stereognetic sense.
Diagnostic sense.
Stereognetic sense.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, kids are
Now,
enjoying and they are coming forward, everybody, and then they are telling correctly. If they make
okay.
mistake, also touch and feel and tell means they are coming out with their own correct answers. This is the one more way. It will register in their mind forever, ma'am.
Correct, correct. That is there. See, always whenever you ask them to work, no, so they would be able to give you a lot of good amount of exercises as such, right? So the children
Yes,
will be able to work beyond. Correct. So let me
yes,
quickly
yes.
give you how do you introduce, how do you present all these exercises very shortly. Thank you, Hamsa ma'am, for adding. So that brings
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
a
ma'am.
therapeutic sense for all of us. Okay. So I don't have a lesson to show you on the cards, but I just wanted to show you how you can actually present this, right? So this is my geometry cabinet tray. So I'm reinforcing on taking out my circles. And when I remove all my circles, I should be able to work on the diameter. I should be able to help the child to recognize the inner circle and the outer circle, and then I would be able to put it back. Correct? So this is my first step. Once I have achieved this with my draw 1, I would proceed with my draw 2. So draw 2, I can pick up anything. So what has she picked up? She has picked up my what shapes? It's a quatrefoil,
Quadrifoil.
surface, right? So you can always work on 3-period lessons. See, it totally depends on what shape that you want to introduce for your classes. It's not that sequentially you will do everything. It could be like if the teacher is teaching them to arrange from grading from the largest circle to the smallest circle, you can actually do that. In case if the teacher wants to do it with your cards, now see, these are the cards. You can actually match it on top of that particular thing. So this comes under what set? Set 1, set 2, set 3, what set it is? Set 1. Now, did you notice the card is filled? Completely filled. So this is your set 1 card. So I can extensively add. Not many schools will have cards. They will only have a geometric cabinet tray. Now, this is an extended material. If some of the schools do have cards, you can purchase all the 3 sets of cards. Set 1 completely filled in. Set 2 thicker outline. Set 3 a thinner outline. So what as a teacher you're going to show them? You're going to show them how to keep the insets on the card. The card is completely filled in. Now, say for example, in case if you want to work on the outline cards. I'm going to show you the outline cards. This is how the outline cards would be. It comes under my set 2, which has got my thick outline. Correct? So I still take up the same thing. Randomly, I can position. Now I'm going to be positioning. So this is my set 2. Now what could be my third exercise? I similarly have my set 3 cards, which goes on my thin outline, and I would be positioning. The same exercises would be there for all my lessons. I don't have this material in my class also, but if at all, if you have, you can actually add on to it because it's going to be a beautiful lesson for all of you to add on. So clear? So in your exams, if you get demonstrate the geometric cabinet tray along with the card sets, you will have to choose any one draw. Ask them the question. Do you want them to demonstrate all the draw in sets of all the draw, or it's only draw 1 or draw 2? If they ask you for any particular draw, then you have to show with all the outline cards, and then you have to draw, and then you have to demonstrate it to the invigilator. Clear, guys? So this becomes your next exercise of what we had, and that's called your geometric cabinet tray. Clear? Okay. So let's move on to the next part. Okay. Shall we go to the next exercise? Okay. So the next exercise is going to be a beautiful one of my favorite, which most of our children do enjoy in our classes. So what is that called? It is called constructive triangles. Okay, please note down the next material. They come with different varieties. Its only thing is like, I'll give you different shapes. You got to construct a triangle out of it. Okay. Or from a materials, you will be constructing different objects. So let's move on to our constructive triangles. Please note down, in constructive triangles, I will have 5 types of constructive triangles. First one is called rectangular triangles. Rectangular triangles. Next one is called the blue rectangular box. These are the materials I'm going to use. Then I would use my third material, which is called my triangular box. Then I would have a large hexagonal box. Then I would have my small hexagonal box. So I'm going to be using these 5 materials in Montessori to introduce constructive triangles to my children. Has everybody written? So we're going to use a rectangular triangular box, a blue rectangular box. Then we're going to use a triangular box, a large hexagonal box, and a small hexagonal box. So shall we start with the first one? The first one, the rectangular triangle. Now here we have to have certain things. What do we have here? What is the material that I would need? It's very simple, guys. So I need to have few triangles. Okay. So the name of the triangle is a little trickier. So how do I give that to all of you? Okay. Okay, let me show and I'll explain it to you. Okay. Let me show and I'll explain it to you. So it'll be easy for us to understand it together. Okay. Okay. So this is the material. Can you see? Can you see? Okay. So this is my first one. It's called a rectangular triangle box. Now, what is one thing that you have seen over here in all these pieces? You have to talk. You have to talk.
That all are triangles.
All triangles?
Yes,
Yes.
in
All
different
are
color.
Yes.
In different color.
different colors. What are the colors? You have to be specific about the colors because in materials required, we're going to write the colors. Now you tell me. So you have what all
Gray.
what different triangles?
Yellow,
Very, very.
yellow to green,
Green, yellow,
So
red,
basically,
gray.
using
Primary
Gray.
color.
right? Using 4 colors. Correct? So the first one that I'm going to be telling you is you should have a pair of yellow equilateral triangle. Can you find yellow equilateral triangle here? Can you find a yellow equilateral triangle?
Yes.
Yes, which one? The smallest one here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so that's my yellow. So note down the first material, what you need. You need 2 yellow equilateral triangles with a black line. Can you also see a black line there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so that's your first material. So 2 yellow equilateral triangle with a black mark. What's my next one? Do you see a gray scalene right angle triangle? Gray
Yes, ma'am.
scalene right angle.
Right angle triangle.
Can you see? Write down. So you need to have the second one as your gray scalene right angle triangle. Is scalene right angle. Okay. What's my third one? Do you see a green scalene right angle triangle?
Yes.
Yes.
Where? Which one? The larger one?
Yes.
Yes. So that's
Yes,
my green scalene right angle triangle. What triangle? Scalene triangle. Right angle. Yeah, because you see an angle there. It is straight. So that's one thing that I have. Now, do you also see a yellow isosceles triangle, right angle triangle?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, where? Where?
On
One?
beside the green. Yes. Yes. That one.
Yes.
Beside the gray one.
Yeah, so that's your yellow isosceles right angle triangle. Okay, so what's the last one then?
green equilateral
Green.
triangle.
Green.
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 One more
Green
green. What is it?
equilateral triangle.
Red one.
Equilateral triangle.
Is it equilateral or isosceles? Check. The base is longer.
Red one.
No, red we have still not taken.
Green.
So that's again isosceles triangle. Green isosceles right angle triangle. Then you have what? Scalene right angle
Red.
red. Scalene right angle red. Yes. So these would all be your materials, guys. So you need that. So my presentation is, what is my presentation? When I have all these pieces of triangles, I should be able to match them. How do I match it? So I get all these constructive triangles over here. I will have to be laying out these materials individually on my mat, on my working mat. What's my second step? I have to construct something. See, I have a black line. I have a black line here, right? So this helps me to join in. So what am I trying to construct here? Am I constructing a particular shape here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we are constructing a particular shape here. So what are the different shapes that you could construct? Now, what is the first shape that she constructed? Was it a square? The green one?
Square.
Yes. So with
Square.
different kinds of triangles, we can make different shapes. Now, the first one, we constructed a square, correct? So two equilateral triangles or right angled isosceles, sorry, the scalene triangle helped me to construct a square. So this you can give. The second thing I can construct with yellow color. What was the shape that I got?
Diamond.
Parallelogram.
Diamond.
Parallelogram. I could construct a parallelogram, the yellow one. See?
You
Correct?
can say diamond, ma'am.
Yeah, you can say diamond, but usually we say parallelogram, no?
Diamond is in opposite, like
Yeah. So what's the next one? With the gray, what did we construct?
rectangle.
Rectangle. So
Rectangle.
the entire idea for me is when we mix all these triangles together and when you allow the child to see what will happen when you combine the triangles? Children will be amazed to see that they only are able to make three shapes: a square, a rectangle, a parallelogram. These are the only three shapes that we are going to construct. So you have to remember, the aim of this exercise for me is, when I use my constructive rectangular triangle box, I will be introducing the child, when they mix up any of these two triangles, they either get a square or a rectangle or a parallelogram. Clear? Only these three shapes is what the child is going to be getting: a rectangle, a square, or a
Parallelogram.
parallelogram. Okay, so these are the three shapes that we will have to be getting it. Clear? So let's go further. Let's go further and let's start constructing. Now, if I take these two, what is my shape? So I have to mark on that. So that's how I present. Then I glide over that. I get a parallelogram. Now, when I take these two triangles, I have to see the line and then only I have to construct. Again, I get a parallelogram. Now, what is the last one? Or if I take up these two, what do I get? What do I get? A parallelogram again. If I take my red, what do I get?
A parallelogram.
It's a rhombus.
Yes. Okay. So this would be my first exercise that I'm going to be working in my constructive triangle, the first one. So it's my rectangular triangle box. Now we go to the second box, that's called the blue rectangular box. So here, do you think that, as the name itself suggests, do we have multiple colors here? We might not have multiple colors here. So we would have everything which is related to my color blue only. Blue only. So everything I would have will be my blue color. So what could be the age that I'm going to be choosing for children here? Maybe like 4.5 years I can take up. Children of 4.5 years is what I can actually take. So I'm going to take the triangles. But if you notice here, they're all of color what? Blue color.
Two colors.
And if you notice, there's one more thing. There is no black color. So do you think that there is a gradual shift now? The child knows how to join to make a shape. So we are not giving an indicator here in my blue box. So this is my second extension. Okay, so I don't have this. So this becomes my second material, wherein now I make a rectangle. You give a choice to a question. Children, make a rectangle. The child should make a rectangle. How do they make a rectangle? When I join two right-angled what triangles? Scalene triangles. Two right-angled scalene triangle gives me a rectangle. How do I make a square, children? Ma'am, when I take two right-angled isosceles triangle, I do get a square. So teachers will start asking the children questions about construct this. So when I pick up a right-angled isosceles, I get a square. Now, can you make a rhombus? Yes, ma'am, I can make a rhombus. So I can take two equilateral triangles. I can make a rhombus. Can you make a trapezoid? Definitely, ma'am, I can make a trapezoid. So whatever are my two rectangles left out, so I make a trapezoid out of it. So in my box 2, that is my blue rectangular box, I am interested to construct a rectangle, a square, a parallelogram, and a trapezoid. Easy, guys? So this is my box 2, but this does not have any indication. Okay, so let's move to our box 3. Box 3 is my triangular box. Now you will be able to give me. Now what should be there? What should be there? Lot of triangles.
Triangles.
Lot of triangles will be there. As the material itself said, like we're going to be using triangular boxes. So I'm going to have triangles. Okay, so let me quickly give you an update of that material. How does it look? So what are the different colors? So we are going to have triangles. We're going to construct a triangle. What triangle? An equilateral triangle with different kinds of triangles. So that's the key that we're going to be working. So I'm also going to have a base. For the base, I have taken my gray color and I have two right angle triangles making one equilateral. Then I can have 4 equilateral triangles making an equilateral. So we're going to see how each of those triangles, when they're puzzled up together, they make a equilateral triangle. Okay, so this comes in a triangular box. Now the gray color is my base. So let's take out all this. Now this again comes with an indicated marking. So I have 2 green what? You got to tell me. 2 green what? What? Tell me.
Rectangle triangle.
Right angle triangle.
2 green right
Right.
angle
Right angle triangle.
1 large gray triangle. So you got to trace out on my large gray triangle. And does it have a black line in this?
No.
No, you got to mention 1 large gray triangle without any gray marking or black marking. Then I would have 2 green rectangled triangles. Then I have 3 yellow obtuse angled isosceles. Then I would have 4 red what? Equilateral. So
Equilateral
now I'm going
triangle.
to construct the triangles. Okay, so it's very easy for me. I got to sensitize. I got to trace onto my line. I join them. The same drill that how we do, but we were able to construct a equilateral triangle with this. So we're going to keep the gray over that and see if it is the same or not. Clear, everybody? So we constructed 1 equilateral. Again, we take the 3 parts. We have the lines over here. So we know where to join. So the child will never get confused on joining the pieces. They never get confused. Black on black, black on black. So this piece has to go. So no reverse pieces. So there is an indicating mark. And now for the reference, you use that. Same thing goes with my red on red. We're going to keep over this, and then the teacher gives them an indication that this is an equilateral triangle. So this is my constructive triangles box 3. Clear, everybody? So we did our triangular box, so which had only triangles of the color. One was gray, one was red, one was green, and one was yellow. Okay, let's move on to a large hexagonal box. Okay, so as the name indicates, what do we think? As the name indicates, what do you think?
So good.
So we will be using many kinds of triangles to make what? Hexagon?
So good.
Okay, so let's construct that particular thing. So we're going to be seeing what are the different kinds of triangles that we are going to be using in our classes to actually work. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. And let's move forward for that. Okay, so this is my large hexagonal box. So it has different kinds of triangles to help me to construct a hexagon. Okay, so let's see. You either sit on the floor or on the chair. That becomes my instruction. So when you remove out these materials, so you have so many pieces of triangles. Correct? We have pieces of triangles. And I have to now keep up all my pieces together. And I have to continue to help the child to make a hexagon. Okay. So there's one piece. Yes. So one piece is all ready for me. Now I take up my other pieces. So I made a large triangle. So I have this. So I got to construct this. Easy, everybody? So is this the hexagon shape? Definitely yes. So we made a hexagon over here. So let's see for the other pieces. So that is my other shape. So with this, we're trying to revise other things, other shapes also. So what are the shapes which has been revised? What are the shapes which has been revised? We could
Triangle and
construct a
Parallelogram.
parallelogram, rhombus, and an equilateral triangle along
Equilateral
with the
triangle
hexagon.
and the rhombus.
Constructive triangles, we're also learning about my other shapes. Okay, so what are the different triangles that actually are used? So I have a large yellow equilateral triangle, one large equilateral triangle, the center one here. Materials required. So I have one large equilateral triangle, which was there. Then I have obtuse angled triangles. Then I have red pair of triangles, a gray pair of triangles. Correct? So you can actually write that how many triangles you actually had it to perform this exercise. So we could construct a hexagon and many other shapes with that. What about my small rectangular box? What does this say? By the name itself.
We are going to make small hexagon.
Small hexagon, small pieces. Is that so? Or something else we would have? Let's see. But it might look a little different because it's going to be many other shapes which gets involved over here. So you will be able to see the differences yourself. But we don't have a large triangle if you notice here. There are many smaller triangles. Now what's this triangles? They're coming in different colors. So we have a red triangle, a blue triangle, and a yellow triangle. They come in pairs. So 2 red, 2 blue, 2 green. Okay, so what is the type of the triangle?
Equilateral.
Triangles I have, yes, I have blue
Equilateral.
equilateral triangles. So I have to follow on this. So I have many of the equilateral gray triangles. Then I have a pair of blue, red, green. So 4 or 5 gray. And then I have many of them in the shades of gray, 2 green, 2 yellow, 2 red, and 2 blue. So using all these pieces, what do? We make different shapes. What are the shapes? The first one was a parallelogram. Then I could have a trapezoid of green. Then again, we had a parallelogram. Now, what could be the last shape out of gray we could construct?
Hexagon.
Am I constructing a hexagon here?
Yes.
Yes, I'm constructing a hexagon. Now, can you tell me different shapes that we could make with this? A trapezoid, a parallelogram, and a hexagon. Yeah, so 3 rhombuses can make 1 hexagon. So you're going to also show children about this. 3 rhombus can make 1 hexagon. Okay, so you can show them the equivalent parts. Okay, so that covers our simple exercises of constructive triangles. So we saw rectangular triangles, blue rectangular box, triangular boxes, large hexagonal box, small hexagonal box. So that puts to our today's learning to an end. So time to put you all onto the video mode. Tell me what was one material that you liked the most. Everybody onto the video mode. Yes, quickly. On a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What excited you? What material you liked? One material. And tell me what quickly. Small?
Hexagonal box.
Small hexagonal box. Why?
Yes.
Why?
We can make small hexagons and it is looking like a kind of flower and we can make those kind of things.
Okay, that's nice.
The last one seems to be like a flower.
Okay. Yes. Anybody else? Any other material? We did so many today.
Yeah, the first one, the circles where they could pick it up, and because most of the things are in circles, I think it would be the best thing for the kids to learn.
So you mean to say our geometry cabinet tray that you mean to say?
Yes.
Okay, the geometry cabinet tray, the child could pick up and the child could trace over. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Padmini. Anybody else? Whatever could be your material.
Colors.
Color tablets, I would like to color books.
Okay, one few.
I said I would like to mention in regard to the color tablets, there are a lot of various exercises, the patterns with different shades that can be done. Especially the sun ray pattern and all, and that looks very beautiful and attractive if placed, and I think it even brings out the creative side of the teacher. The more they start working, there are different ways in it that the shades can be explored. So I always enjoyed it. So yeah, that's always been my favorite.
Okay, so color tablets. Okay, so that's amazing because we will be able to link so many things in nature. Color tablets. Any other material, guys? See, this gives us a quick revision of yes, we learned color tablet, which I forgot that I explained it to you today. Okay. Yeah, what are the other materials?
Different shades.
Different shades of it. How do we go on to the mixing part of it? Geometric cabinet was a beautiful one. Yeah. And then what else we learned? We also learned about, yeah. What's in our draw? Now, a quick question. What's there in our draw for? What's in our draw for?
For polygon.
Draw 4 polygons. Yes. What are polygons? Anything that has more than 4 sides is a polygon. Pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, octagon.
octagon, nonagon, decagon.
Yes. What's in our draw 6?
Curved figures.
Curved
Curved
figures.
figures. So what could be my curved figures?
Oval,
Oval, curvilinear, triangle, ellipse, quatrefoil,
Very good. So what's in my draw 5?
quadrilaterals,
Quadrilateral. What's a quadrilateral?
rhombus, parallelogram,
rhombus, parallelogram, right angle.
Define a quadrilateral. Anything that has
four sides.
rhombus, parallelogram, right angle, trapezoid, isosceles,
Isosceles,
trapezoid.
trapezoid, acute angle, scalene triangle.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So what's in my draw 1?
6 circles.
Six circles.
6 circles, 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters.
What centimeter to what centimeter?
5 to 10.
5 to 10. What's in my draw 2?
Draw 2, it's 1 square and 5 rectangles.
1 square and 5 rectangles ranging from what?
10 centimeters.
5 to 10.
5 to 10
Can we
centimeter
construct
round.
any diagram with that and we can do a fill-in patterns, color, paint? We'll
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
Yes, the child will
Yes.
be able to create a robot. The child will be able to make a slow man using different shapes. So let them construct. So it's their creativity. Okay. So coming down to that, it puts us into, we have also cards. The cards come in how many stages?
3 stages.
3 stages. What is stage 1?
Completely filled up.
Set 1. Set 1 is
In line.
completely filled.
Completely filled in.
Step 2,
Thick outline.
Thick outline.
step
Thin
3.
outline.
Thin outline.
Outline.
Thin outline.
That's beautiful. So those were the 3 materials that we actually used for today. So we started with color tablets, geometric cabinet, and constructive triangles. In tomorrow's class, we're going to continue the same thing with geometric figures. We're going to continue again with sensorial, decanomial squares, then binomial, trinomial, and a leaf cabinet. Okay, so that might be for tomorrow. And last, another 2 more sessions for sensorial is what we need. I don't want to skip any of the materials because they're all there. So at least if you get an overview, it'll be easy. But otherwise, in the general regular class, we don't do more than 2 materials. So every student will write and we will pick up the inset, we will draw, we will do the patterns, how it is required, we make notes. And then the students who are there in online, they can send a PDF copy, and offline students take a signature on every Saturday. So they get that submission time. So every lessons needs to be written in a particular format. So I'll give you the format of how you need to be writing all these exercises, which becomes easy for each one of you. So you will always make and start every exercise on a fresh page. You will always write the name of the experiment. You make multiple columns like this. So you will always start with what is the name of the experiment, and then you will write the materials that is required for doing this exercise. Then you will write the purpose of this exercise. Then you're going to write the presentation. How are you going to present? By inviting children, by picking up certain things. Then once the presentation is done, you're going to be again writing what is the indirect purpose. First we wrote a direct purpose. Now you're going to write indirectly, is the child learning anything? Indirectly, today's session, even though it was sensorial, it had something to do with math. Again, in math, it had something to do with geometry, correct? So that was my indirect purpose. If I'm performing or if I'm having any error, what is my error of control that I'm going to have it? What is the age at which I am going to introduce this exercise? So all these 7 or 8 points needs to be written. And if you have any pictures of your activity or you pick it up from the internet, we usually take and paste it for our reference, because you would be able to connect with the material when you go through your notes. Okay, the textbooks, what you get it will not have any images in that. It will just be a blank notes of what these materials are. But each of the material, if you are coming for an offline class, you can take a picture and you can paste it into your notes so you know about it. Or when you're doing, have a recording, take a glimpse of you doing that material, paste it into your book. That gives you an idea of what is this material all about. Okay, so this should not be missed. And handwriting is a must and should need way you have to write. All the headings in red color. You can either use black or blue to write every notes. Does anybody have a returned exercise which has got signed from me? Shweta or anyone? Hamsa ma'am or anyone? Can you share one
I
exercise?
have, ma'am.
Yes, any one exercise, can you share it with me today, Shweta?
Ma'am,
Whoever
I think my notes, Shanta
Yes.
ma'am, thick.
Who has Shanta has it? Shanta, then you take and send me a PDF of one notes so we can share it with all of them so they get an idea of how to make notes. And
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am, Padmini ma'am, all of you, Dr. Sujata, you have to all make your students write the same way because that carries 100 mark for the paper presentation. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Let's quickly take our attendance for today on a count of 10. If you have anything, you can let me know. Anything we have missed on these, you can let me know. I'm not showing any of the materials in real because it'll take a lot of time then. Then 2 hours will go just for one material. And because of the time constraint for the online classes, I'm just clubbing everything together. Okay. Saturdays, you're most welcome. Whenever you're in town, you can come over here. You can practice. If your schools have got a Montessori materials, practice over there. In your neighborhood, if you have any of the Montessori schools, like just go, take permission, volunteer, see the materials and get a hands-on experiences on using them rightfully. Okay. Then you can implement the same in your classes and then you can get back. Okay. So yes, on a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Kavya, you'll be marked absent. Kirtana. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Cheese,
I'm
everybody.
here.
Yes, you're there. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes. Thank you. Have a great evening, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. See you all. See you.
See you. Bye.